We are at Joe Swasey's cabin, Joseph. He was a rancher, obviously, here, a cattle rancher. And this is the cabin. Inside there were bunk beds and a wooden stove for heating as well as cooking. Now that is a beautiful picture of that monolith. Alrighty, let's walk up to the cabin here. These logs were obtained further west of here at Spring Valley, and the cabin was actually built in 1921. And except for the black tarp, this is all original. Notice how the logs are cut into each other. And what's amazing is normally above cabin doors there are many carved signatures, but this one only has a couple of them. They're very faint. Joe Hull and a little bit next to him. Okay, let's walk around the back. And here you can see the interlacing of the logs better. Notice the foundation. Roof, center pole, and one on each side. Really a beautiful location. Now the back has this log across, and it's obviously that is where you tied your horses. Now looking over the range, Joe's area for his cattle extended from Green River to here and all the way south to Hanksville. So saying that he had 2,000 to 5,000 cattle, I don't think is an exaggeration. The problem is, how do you herd those cattle to a local railroad yard, which would probably be Thompson Railroad north of Moab, and then ship them off? I mean, herding these cattle is an enormous task for I don't know how many cowboys. And the size of the range is just overwhelming. Okay, we are now 2/10 of a mile further west from the cabin at the ice box. By the way, we're using this book for our normal guide, that's GPS miles. So we came down that road from the cabin. There's our pillar, and this is the ice box. It's called the ice box is because this is where the cowboys stored all their foods. Presumably it's supposed to be cold or cool. I'm not sure why it is, but so it be. Okay, let's go around here. I think this fence is to keep the cows out, not people. Large alcoves, which may be the actual ice box itself. One of the problems, of course, it's a little echo here. One of the problems, of course, is rodents eating your food. There's black marking up there. It's normally done with axle grease. And to the left, someone carved in A, B, D, F, and down here is KN. And that's all there is to report on this massive boulder. So there's a trail here now. When I first came here, there was no trail at all. I had to find this. Now let's sweep around. We're going to a water spring. When I first came here, there was no trail, and now they have a very nice trail here. How does this happen? This massive rock standing there all alone, top of a hill. Anyway, back on the trail. Okay, this was a spring here, and last time I was here, which is a few years back, water was running, and seems like every bird in the country was here drinking water. So it is a very good source of water, not only for Joe and his cowboys, but for the wild animals. And here's the trough. Again, last time this is completely full of water. Fills up to here, and down it goes and comes from there, which comes from up there in the crevice, and we might as well walk up there. The actual spring, they dug down a hole so the water pressure would force the water up to here, down the pipe, and you can still see there's a little water trickling here. That may have been from the recent rain. Let me get on the other side of this and go up the canyon here into the shady part and let our little GoPro here adjusts itself to the light. This is a GoPro 5, so it doesn't have all the fancy adjustments. The newer ones do. Well, typically, this is where the cowboys, I guess, hung out because of the water, and they carved into this soft sandstone. I just sort of scan it. Ironically, there's only two places where we found the date. One of them is right here, and that's 1928, November, which means cold. Mr. Kilpatrick. And this appears to be a date, not very legible though. And I'll back off. And that's the entire list of autographs here. I'll sort of walk into this left canyon. It's really a slot, and it's a waterfall. But what's interesting about this guy, I won't climb up here again with the GoPro, but you see the roots there? And then back there's a waterfall. It's a mangle of roots holding a tree up. Let me back up here. By the way, there's no graffiti back there of any kind. And you can see that tree is doing quite well. Okay, to the right, is the opposite. And again, it's a waterfall cutting through this, through here. And there's no cowboy graffiti or anything here of interest. But again, what's interesting are the black lines. Let me go up a little higher. And there's a flat area up there, as you can see. But these roots, absolutely fascinating. Okay, I'm going to turn around, have a look back down this canyon, and walk down a little bit. And there's a better perspective of the trough and all that. So, there's the root, the tree of the roots. So, like Bugs Bunny, that's all for now, folks. Okay, we're at the Pictograph I often call this guy the devil. He's off the road that we took to Swasey Cabin, north about a half a mile or so. It's all in that book, I believe. Sure it is. Okay, so they have a wooden fence around here, as you can see, and the purpose of the fence is to keep cows out. Now, if you look at the structure of the fence, it's to keep a herd of buffaloes out of here. It's overdone, but I'll just scan the area first. It's a pretty valley, actually. Lone Butte up there. And you can see the road to Swasey Cabin way the distance. But look at the face of this cliff edge here. And at sunset during the sweet light, which is 90 minutes after sunrise, these colors are brilliant. I'm talking about the streaks. I'll just go along here. So if you have a chance, be here at sunrise. Okay, let's find the devil. If you look straight ahead, there he is. Let's walk up to him. Actually, if you didn't know he was here, you wouldn't know this is the devil's hiding place. But here we go. Obviously, rocks have fallen down. Let's get closer to him. So he's a shield, one might claim. Pointed ears. The only thing missing is the tail, but if you look down diagonally, right here, there's the tail. So, Your Honor, I submit my case for your decision whether this is a depiction of the devil or not. Okay, we're going to leave here and walk down to the other end of these panel things. I'll kind of hurry it up here. Now, what's amazing about this panel, and I showed you the environment here, it is an absolute desert. So the path normally for our Native American Indians was not a road, but how do you go from water hole A to water hole B to water hole C? And is there water in that hole? Later on, I have to get around this fence here. There's no cow this big, but whatever. We'll go to I think it's Three Finger Canyon, where there's a huge water hole, and that presumably is the reason why there's a multitude of petroglyphs there. One of the watering holes. Okay, we're coming pretty close to the other panel now. Oh, back to the water hole. The spring that we saw back there at Swasey Cabin normally runs, but we're in an extended drought now, and it just barely trickles, even after a rain which we've had the last 3 days, major rain. Isn't that a nice tree? Look at the size of the branches coming out. And it's healthy. It's really healthy. This tree imposes itself. When there isn't much water, it just says, hey, branch way out there to the left, you're going to die this year. And the branch way to the left says, please let me live. Of course, it has no vote on the issue, so it dies. But in that act, the rest of the branches stay alive. Okay, here's another cow fence we have to hurdle, go around. But here you can see the sheer cliff wall here. I mean, it is as if it was cut with a bread knife. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, this is a very, very faint pictograph. And the one next to it. I'll get a little closer here. Sun's setting in the west. You can see a date up there. Oh, let me kneel down. 1895. Below it is 19. You can figure that one out. And those little marks, the slots, are normally used by Indians to sharpen their knives or tools. I doubt the cowboys would do that. And a little minor one here and here.